Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. Eli Lake works for Commentary in the Free Press, and he hosts for the Free Press a magnificent podcast, Breaking History. And Eli, I'm so glad to have you, even for a short segment today, because the hour with David Albright may have been the most important hour I listened to. I
Well,
also
thank
Kareem
you.
Sajipur talking to Dan Senor, but that really
That was
laid it
great.
out. So now, first question, after listening to Breaking History, do you think most Americans have thought about the risk that David talked about, that even after this, the Iranians might be able to do a crude nuclear weapon and deliver it by non conventional means?
No, I don't think so because I think at this point, the conversation about anything having to do with weapons of mass destruction immediately goes back to Iraq, and it becomes a question on can you rely on governments and their intelligence assessments. And so I think somebody like David Albright, who was correct on Iraq, by the way,
Yes.
and has the experience, is someone very much worth listening to. But he was an on. He I think he's such a great analyst because he was honest about the Obama nuclear deal. They're letting the Iranians basically keeping their was in some ways blackballed in the sort of polite non-proliferation community in Washington. He lost funding from Plowshares, which became much more of a kind of activist organization in that period of time. But he has managed to survive, and I think he's the one guy who's definitely, you're absolutely right, worth listening to. He's great.
All right, people, if people have missed Breaking History, if only this episode, go and listen to David Albright because
Thank you.
it's eye opening. It's absolutely eye opening. Now, Eli,
Yeah.
to the question at hand: is America better off this Friday than it was last Friday? America, not Israel. Israel certainly is, but what about America?
America is much better off just from the perspective of since the atomic age, since the dawn of the atomic age. I did a podcast that got into some of this. The United States has tried to limit the number of countries that have nuclear weapons. And if Iran was able to be on the precipice of being a nuclear power, let alone being a declared nuclear power, well, then we would see proliferation in Turkey, in Pakistan, in Egypt, and the world would be a much more dangerous place that is against American interests, let alone the fact that Iran has so much American blood on its hands over its near 50-year history. So, in that respect, absolutely, America is better off. And
All
unfortunately,
right,
we're kind of in a
now
position where it's a debate.
I said last night on Special Report, I think this is the biggest decision of Donald Trump's life, not his second term, not his
Yep.
presidency, but of his life. And I hope he makes the right one to join Israel in making strikes and assuring that the nuclear and missile program are destroyed. Do you think he will? Do you think he should?
Well, I want to talk about that because I do think the Israelis have a backup. I think they have a plan B. I think it would be better for America to join it because I think it would be a powerful message to our enemies and adversaries. However, we're already involved. Trump already, I think, in many ways made the momentous decision. He could have stopped Israel. Instead, he is helping Israel defend itself. He is authorized the providing of intelligence. I think he should finish it, but at the same time, as my people would say at the Seder, if this is all there was, Dayenu. Because at this point, Israel's going to finish the job one way or the other. I think it'd be better if America did it, but it's not to me essential. I think at this point, Trump's already made the right decision, and I think that he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Now, Eli, I want to put my proposition out, which is controversial. I think
Yeah,
W is hoping Donald Trump does this because it will complete the Iraq project. It could conceivably make
so
Lebanon free and peaceful. It might allow for the Abraham Accords to go everywhere, but nothing will happen until Iran is defanged. Do you share my lollipops
I
and
feel like
clouds vision?
were you listening to my pitch meeting with my editor? Because that's exactly I actually said. I pitched a piece that Donald Trump and Israel are finishing George W. Bush's war. Because the reason why we failed in Iraq was because we never handled Iran. Iran spoiled Iraq. Iran spoiled Syria. Iran spoiled the Arab Spring. I mean, not just the Arab Spring, but in Lebanon, if you look at the assassination, Iran's hands are everywhere. If Trump goes through with this and Israel is successful, this will complete W's project from more than 20 years ago. You are 100% correct.
Amen. And if your editor said no, I want to call him, and then I want a breaking history on this because, or her, it might be Nellie, it might be Barry, who knows, but that's brilliant because we agree. So I like that. Eli Lake, the host of Breaking History. Thank you. I hope we spend more time together next week.
Episode, please. Yeah.
Okay. We will do a William F. Buckley episode. Promise. But this most recent one with David Albright, I had to plug Breaking History, everyone. I'll be right back.